Hey, it's me, Nina. Welcome, Taurus. I'm so excited to be here. So I'm going to be doing your Venus Retrograde tarot reading. And we're going to see what you should be expecting, I guess, what lessons you might need to learn. What's going on in your mind, Taurus, I guess. I wanted to do Taurus because I know that with this Venus in Scorpio, Venus is opposing a lot of people who have Taurus placements. So Venus, like I literally just said this, Scorpio Venus is opposing Taurus right now. So if you're a Taurus Sun, Moon, or Rising or Venus, you might relate to this. If you don't relate to this reading, that's okay. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. And I also decided to use my Ostara? My Ostara deck. It's right here, this one. I love this. It's so pretty. Whenever I use this deck, I think of Taurus because it's so aesthetically pleasing, and I really wanted to use this deck for Taurus. So we're gonna go ahead and get right into it, and let's see what is in store for Taurus. And earlier while I was shuffling, like before I started recording anything, I was shuffling and I kept on seeing that there's a sort of emotional imbalance going on with Taurus, I think. For some reason, I feel like you're giving so much of your energy and people are taking so much of your energy, and it's really draining you, Taurus. I feel like you feel so tired, so drained, so exhausted. And it's like I feel like there is a lack of boundaries going on. And you need to learn how to, you're a Taurus, right? You're an earth sign. You need boundaries. You need time for yourself. Don't let other people drain you so much. Don't let people leech onto your energy and take that from you, you know? There's emotional imbalance, right? And there might be some sort of imbalance with the decisions that you're taking. Maybe you're not being as you're not thinking your decisions through. I feel like there's kind of a recklessness going on, which is very unlike you, Taurus. And if you're a Taurus rising, then I know that I don't know if Uranus is still in Taurus, but if it is, then I know that Uranus is transiting through your first house. So there's definitely a lot of changes going on, I think. Definitely there's an upheaval, and if Uranus is going through your first house, there's kind of an upheaval of or a reevaluation of who you are, if that makes sense. So I just see like imbalance. I don't know, things just they're going differently. And I just fell out the Wheel of Fortune in reverse and the Seven of Pentacles. So, Wheel of Fortune, to me, is all about fate, destiny, karma, and it's in the reverse. So that tells me that there's a cycle that isn't being completed. It's possible that you're trying to avoid the ending of this cycle, because here with the Seven of Pentacles, I see that you're comfortable with where you're at, right? You're fixed earth. You like being comfortable, Taurus. you don't like movement, you don't like upheaval, you don't like change. And whenever there's change, I feel like you try to like sit very close, like you like to sit, what is it that it's, like I feel like I see someone like putting on their seatbelt and like trying not to move from their seat. Like someone is trying to push them out of a car or like push them out of their seat, but they're like glued to that seat. They don't want to move because they're comfortable there. It's what's familiar. So I think right now, Taurus, you're having a hard time dealing with the changes that are kind of going on through your life. And I think that you may even struggle a lot with the cycles that are coming to an end. Maybe there are certain cycles that you don't want to end because, like I said, you're comfortable in those cycles. You may not be happy or content in those cycles, but it's better being in something that you're not necessarily happy with because it's familiar rather than completely ending it and immersing yourself into the unknown and basically starting something from scratch. So I think that with this Venus retrograde, you're going to struggle with ending cycles that you don't want to end because you're comfortable. You've made your home. You're, like with the Seven of Pentacles here, you can see the raccoon and its little family, right? You've built, I don't want to say you built a family for yourself, but you've built a life for yourself in the cycle that you're in. So that you're struggling with ending that. But I think it's important to know that endings are going to happen one way or another, and sometimes it's not in your control. You can't always control your outcome. So I think it's a matter of loosening your grip a little bit, and it's similar to Scorpio. I mean, you're both fixed signs, so I think it's a matter of loosening your grip a little bit, and it's like, do you want to do this the easy way or the hard way? Because if you do it the easy way, then everything will be fine. There's transformation. There is literally transformation bound to happen. And with Venus and Scorpio, I feel like the Death card also represents the Venus and Scorpio retrograde going on. I literally have the Tower in reverse. So, I mean, I associate both of these cards with Scorpio. So you might even be dealing with a Scorpio. But I see this as Venus retrograde and there is literally change coming your way and you don't want it. You're resisting it. But it's like, especially with the Tower. Here, I even have the Ten of Swords in reverse. That fell out. And it was the first one that popped out. When I see the Tower, right, if I look at it like that, in the upright position, it's literally burning to the ground. Like, it is being completely destroyed. And I kind of see this as, I see someone climbing up a spiral staircase, and it's in a tower, right? They're climbing up this tower, and it's up this spiral staircase. And they're trying to escape the fire. They're trying to escape the destruction. But the thing is, if the fire started at the bottom, it's only going to rise up. It's only going to get higher, and it's only going to inevitably engulf the entire structure. And the higher you climb, the harder the impact it's going to be when you are forced to jump out of a burning building. When you're forced to jump out of that burning tower. Like, if you ultimately want to survive this destruction, you have to jump out. Well, inevitably you have to jump out, and the flames have to engulf the the tower, right? For it to be completely destroyed. So the higher you climb, the farther you're going to have to jump, and the harder the impact is going to be. The more injured you're going to be when you reach the ground, right? Because if it were to be, let's say, jumping like half a story, I don't even think that's a thing, but half a story of stairs, right? That's a lot less impact than jumping from 30 stories high, right? So the more you resist this transformation, the more you resist the change, the more you resist these endings, the more painful it's going to be for you in the end. And ultimately, you're hurting yourself. Here I have the Three of Wands. This is freedom. I'm pretty sure I pulled this card in the Scorpio reading as well. So Three of Wands, that's freedom to me. It's a new adventure, turning a new leaf almost. Venus retrograde is giving you the opportunity to end cycles that no longer served you and to begin new things, to begin new projects, new endeavors, to meet new people, to cut off those who just were not doing anything for you. It's your time to build a new life for yourself. I kind of see it as building your own ship so that you can set sail and discover a new way of life. I kind of see it almost like someone building their own ship or their own boat. And like they're doing it alone. They're doing it all alone. And it's not necessarily out of a place of isolation or loneliness or like it's not a lonely feeling. It's just like an introspective kind of thing. Like they're doing all of this work. They're building this boat and setting sail so that they can find enlightenment in the ocean, if that makes any sense. I have the Six of Pentacles in reverse. So this tells me, Taurus, you've been giving too much of your energy to people who don't deserve it. Perhaps it was a family member or to just friends or even like a relationship. You're giving too much and not getting enough in return. You are going out of your way to make people happy, to make them feel better, you're nurturing them, right? And you're not that energy isn't being reciprocated. That's what I said earlier at the beginning of the video. Like you're giving so much of your energy, but you're not receiving it. It's not being reciprocated. So I think that you need to learn to put up the boundaries, to put up these boundaries and to really do things for yourself, I guess you could say. Reevaluate who you want to give your energy to. And then at the top here, I have the Two of Cups. So with these two next to each other, the Six of Pentacles in reverse and the Two of Cups, it's possible that a relationship is draining you. You're being drained by some sort of romantic relationship. So if that's the case, have a serious discussion with them. I don't want to say break up with them, but have a serious discussion with them. And if they are not willing to compromise with you, and if they are not willing to admit their wrongs or improve the relationship with you, then cut them off. Because right now, Venus retrograde is all about you. That's whenever a retrograde is going on, it's about introspection. It's about you, not other people. It's about working on your own growth, not the growth of others. It's inward, it's not outward. So focus on yourself. Focus on your well-being. Don't give to people who won't give back. That's like what I'm seeing here. And what is this? The 8 of Swords in reverse. Yeah. Free yourself from a relationship that is no longer serving you. And with the 2 of Cups, I kind of feel it might be some sort of soulmate connection. Because the way that I have everything laid out, I have Death and the Tower in reverse, and then I have the 2 of Cups right between there. So this might have to do with a karmic connection, I guess. I don't like using that word. I don't like throwing that word around. But I do see that there's a transformation in a relationship, most likely, and you're resisting that transformation because you're comfortable with where that relationship is, even though you're not happy, even though you're not content. You would rather be comfortable and not really have any change. You would rather have stability than upheaval. And with the 8 of Swords in reverse, here's the upright, but it's in reverse. With this in reverse, I feel like, like I said, transformation is going to happen one way or another. It's going to happen whether you want it to or not. And I think that you're finally going to see that truth, and you're finally going to pull the blindfold from yourself, because, okay, so the 8 of Swords, I'm pretty sure I also pulled this for Scorpio. With the 8 of Swords, it's all about self-imposed restriction and basically blinding yourself. Like, you were the one putting the blindfold on yourself, right? So with this in reverse, I see someone finally realizing, oh, I can't see because I put a blindfold on myself. Well, if that's the case, then I'm going to take off the blindfold so I can finally see everything and see reality. So I think that one way or another, the blindfold is going to be taken off of you. And I think that you are going to realize that it was really you holding yourself back and really you resisting the change that was coming along. And once you realize that, I think that you'll feel a lot more free, and you'll kind of reach this 3 of Wands energy, because I see that energy is freedom. But then we have the Ace of Swords in reverse. So there might be a continued confusion, or there might be even like insecurity of, well, it's kind of like, well, okay, I dumped this person, or I cut off this person from my life, or I quit this job, or whatever. What do I do next? How do I approach the situation next? Like, what do I do? Like, you're kind of overthinking it, and kind of not really letting yourself not letting yourself live in the moment and accept the new beginning that you now have. The new beginning that is now being presented to you because you finally see it. Because the new beginning was always being presented to you, but you just refused to see it because you had the blindfold over you. You had the blindfold over your eyes. So now that it is gone, now that you've pulled away that blindfold, you're hesitant. It's like there's an entire new world in front of me. Everything seems so bright, so vivid. What do I do? Where do I go? Who do I speak to? I feel directionless. I feel lost. I feel I need guidance, right? I think that's what that is. So there's insecurity, I think. Five of Swords in reverse. There's insecurity, and there might even be an avoidance in conflict, or that conflict will be resolved. Because with the Five of Swords, I see it as conflict. I see it as, it can even mean backstabbing. And I actually have this right over the Three of Wands and the Six of Pentacles in reverse. So there's kind of a resolution in the manner that you've been approaching the situation, in the sense that the conflict that is going on here, the Six of Pentacles in reverse conflict, that energy, that the fact that you've been draining so much of your energy for other people that are not reciprocating, that is being resolved. I think that you're learning that you do matter, and you're, like I said, you're seeing the reality of the situation, and you're no longer blinded. And it's allowing you to be in this Three of Wands energy. I also see that you don't hold, it's like you're not really holding any more grudges anymore, because it's like, I'm focusing on myself right now. I don't have time to hold on a grudge, which you normally would. I don't have the time, I don't have the energy to hold a grudge against a situation in which I partially had a part in. Because when there's a lack of boundaries, this is kind of a little bit, it might not be easy to hear or easy to accept, but when you lack boundaries, it's kind of two-sided, because on one hand, this person is taking so much of you, and that's shitty of them, because they clearly don't respect you enough to give you your space. But at the same time, it's like you're letting them do that. You're allowing them to step all over you. And it's obviously a lot more, I'm not trying to blame you for that, for the lack of boundaries, because sometimes it's very difficult to have boundaries. It's very difficult to have boundaries. But there's a sense, it's like you're not entirely innocent in the situation, right? That's kind of like what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling here. And I have the Knight of Swords in reverse. So even though you no longer are holding a grudge, let me backtrack for a minute. Because with the Five of Swords in reverse, and then the Knight of Swords in reverse, and then Strength in reverse just popped out. Okay, so with the Ace of Swords in reverse, like I said, there's kind of this insecurity of moving forward. And I also see that there is a fear of facing any conflict. There's a fear of, there's avoidance of conflict. And I think it has to do with this relationship that you might be dealing with. So you're avoiding conflict, and maybe a part of you doesn't want to be reckless and make a reckless decision, or you don't want to be impulsive. Okay. I have the Five of Swords in reverse, and then I have the Knight of Swords in reverse. now that I think more about this, I see this as you and I see this as the other person. You're trying to avoid conflict, but they are trying to go at you. Like you're like, it's like, yeah, you're kind of, I guess, putting the person in their place and no longer taking their shit. And when I say put them in their place, I don't mean that you're being rude or confrontational or whatever about towards them. I just see this as like, I'm no longer taking your shit, sorry. And that gets a reaction out of them. They're gonna be upset about that, and it's like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, what do you mean you don't want to be friends with me? I almost feel like they're gonna try to guilt trip you and kind of just make you feel bad for things that you aren't even responsible for. And they're just gonna, I feel like there's gonna be an inevitable argument, and you're gonna try to avoid that at all costs. But with the Knight of Swords in reverse, I just see reckless energy. I see sharp words. Like, shots will be fired, I feel like. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they don't have the strength that you do, because I have the strength in reverse and it's next to the Knight of Swords. So they lack the confidence that you do. They lack whatever energy you have. And I think that a part of them is envious of you. They want what you want, and that's why they've been draining you for so long. But obviously they can never be you, because like, no one can be you, Taurus. No one can ever be you. They can try to mimic you. They can imitate, but they will never, ever, ever be you. And I think they're jealous of that. And it's going to lead to confrontation probably, and you're not going to want that. And, you know, you're going on, like, you're dealing with your own shit, dude. Like, you're dealing with the fact that there's a transformation that you need to make, right? There's already resistance on your side in the beginning of this Venus retrograde, that it's like, bro, like, I have shit to do. I don't need to be worrying about this right now. But I feel like they're just going to come at you sideways. And it's not, like, I feel like it's not going to be a pretty situation. You might be dealing with a Leo, because the Strength card does represent Leo. Might be dealing with a Scorpio, because I do have the 2 Scorpio cards out. Or it even might be an air sign, because I do have the Knight of Swords, and Swords is air. So, let's see. What else can we say for Taurus, Venus retrograde? Okay. I have Justice in reverse and the Empress in reverse. So I have it's so funny how I have both Libra and Taurus cards that are coming out. So I feel a lot of Venusian energy. You might be dealing with a Libra as well. Or this card just may represent Libra season. But I do see that they are trying to have the upper hand. And then I have the Devil, Capricorn. And then I have... Okay. I'll mention this one later. I'll do that one later. Yeah, I'll do that one later. I'll do that and then... Okay, anyways. So, in this situation, there is a lack of balance, right? Because Justice, you can see the scales, but it's in reverse. So, there's an Egyptian myth, and I learned about it in art history class back in high school, and I don't remember any of the names, but it was basically like, it was a story of how in ancient Egypt they believed in the afterlife, and when you were on the way to the afterlife, like when you died, they, the people in the afterlife, like the gods, they would weigh your heart. And if your heart was heavier than a feather, then you wouldn't go into the afterlife. Like, you wouldn't go into paradise. And if it was, then you would be granted, you would be welcomed into the afterlife, and you would be at peace. And that's why I love this card so much, because it really, it just reminds me so much of that anecdote. And I feel like it really resonates, especially with this reading, because especially here, because, okay, you can see that there is a heart here, right? There's a heart, and that heart is being weighed in the Justice card. And I'm seeing this as this Knight of Swords in reverse energy isn't being, it's not pure. It's not with good intention. It's reckless, it's impulsive. There, like I said, there might be an argument between you and this person, whoever it is, whether it's a friend, coworker, family member, partner. Their heart is heavy with, I don't want to say bad intention, but it just doesn't, it's not a pure, they don't have good intentions, I don't think. And I think that they're trying to take advantage of you. And now that you're no longer letting them do that, they're upset about it. So there needs to be a balance in that. And karma needs to basically play a hand in all of this. And with the Empress in reverse, I feel like I feel like there might be some difficulty in growing from this situation, or expanding from this situation, or kind of doubting yourself, doubting your energy, your ability to grow, because you really do have a lot of nurturing energy. And I think that with this argument, with whatever confrontation that you're going to have with whomever it is, or with whatever situation that you're facing, I feel like you're going to kind of end up doubting yourself in this retrograde. And I think that it's important to not get stuck in that mentality, because it kind of just feels like you wouldn't really be learning the lesson that you're meant to learn. Because we do have the Wheel of Fortune from the beginning, and now that Justice is here, I feel like karma does have a play in this. The universe is, doing its work. So don't doubt in your ability, don't doubt in your energy, don't doubt your energy, your healing energy, and don't get stuck in this mindset of the doubt, right? Because the Devil is all about feeling trapped. And it's similar to the Eight of Swords in that it's all self-imposed in a sense. And the Devil is I pulled your card. Your card fell out, the Hierophant. Stick to what you know, Taurus. Go back to your roots and really reevaluate what matters to you and what you want to keep in your life and who you want to keep in your life, what you're willing to tolerate, what you're not willing to tolerate. And don't allow yourself to remain stuck in this cycle of doubt, or the cycle of lack of boundaries, or whatever it is, whatever cycle that you're stuck in. Pull yourself out of that and reevaluate. look within yourself, become introspective. I think that's like a very common theme that's going on here, especially because it is a retrograde period that's going on. And I think, well, that's not even relevant, so I'm not even going to mention that. So we have the sun in reverse. Don't doubt your light, I think. There's a lot of doubt. You're doubting your light. And I don't think that's fair to you. And I think that you are capable of a lot, really. So don't dim your light. Don't dim your energy, your love, whatever, for people who can barely even keep their candle lit. Don't give your fire to people who can barely even take care of themselves, who can barely take care of their own fire. Because it's ultimately only going to dim your own light. So, what advice can we give to Taurus for this Venus in retrograde, this Venus retrograde transit? What advice can we give Taurus? That was too many cards. Oh, okay. Bottom of the deck, I have Nine of Cups in reverse. Oh, that's cute. I have to mention that. That is so, I need to. Okay, so I have the Seven of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles. I am the Knight of Pentacles. And then I also pulled the Ten of Cups. Or is it the 10? Yeah, that's the Ten of Cups. Okay. So this is your advice. With the Seven of Cups, you might be in a state where you are kind of hopelessly wishing or dreaming for something to happen. And you're kind of daydreaming, you're just stuck in a dream world. You're fantasizing. You're like, I kind of just see a world of glamour. I see someone I'm kind of thinking of like Cinderella, who I just see some, like a damsel in distress kind of making all of these wishes and like wishing and hoping for like a knight in shining armor to save them, right? Like you want someone to save you, I think, but in this instance, I feel like you need to save yourself, Taurus. Save yourself. Don't do anything for anyone other than yourself. With the Knight of Pentacles, the journey isn't going to be easy. It's going to be slow. It's going to be steady. But that's who you are, Taurus. You are not impulsive. You do not rush. You are steady. This journey was meant for you, Taurus. You are the bull. You are calm. You're stable. You are reliable. You're not quick to anger. You're really not. You're really not quick to anger. You are well-tempered. And I think that as you go along this journey, you will reach emotional fulfillment, because we do have the Ten of Cups. You will reach emotional fulfillment. There will be an end to a cycle. And I kind of see this as, like, here. There's a soldier, or a knight, soldier. There's the knight, and then there's a bear. And they're walking along in a snowstorm, almost. It looks like a snowstorm. And they're climbing along this mountain, it seems to me. And it's all filled with snow. And they're just trudging along. What is that? Trudging? Trudging? I think that's the word. They're trudging along. They're going along they're going uphill, right? And it's a difficult and slow journey, especially because there's a snowstorm, you know? It's slow. It's painfully slow. But through that journey, you learn endurance, and you learn resilience, determination. And through that determination, because the way that I see it, you're wishing for something, right? But the journey is slow, right? You have to work for it. You can't just daydream all day long. You have to work for it if you really want it. So whatever you want, whatever you're wishing for, whatever you're dreaming for in this transit, it's going to be slow. You're going to be slow to reach it, but ultimately with the Ten of Cups, you will, and you will feel so fulfilled and so happy and proud of yourself. And you might even share it. You might even share it with someone. I have the Chariot here as well. So you're moving forward. You're definitely moving forward. It's going to be a slow journey, but it's going to be a journey that is worth it. It is worth your time. I do see that you're going to be emotionally fulfilled. You're going to be so happy. Once you reach the top of that mountain, I feel like you're going to be greeted with so much love and so much fulfillment and just good energy. And I think that through this journey, you're going to learn to build the boundaries that you have been lacking. And you're going to learn to be more practical and bring yourself down to earth. Because with that Seven of Cups energy, it's like a masquerade. There's illusion when you're at a masquerade. You don't know who is who. You don't know who is your enemy. You don't know who is your friend. So it takes time to really unmask everything and to see the truth. But you will see it. You'll see the truth. And the ending will feel a lot more satisfactory for you. And I think that you are going to learn the lesson that you were meant to learn. The Lovers in reverse popped out. And then I have the Ace of Pentacles. So if you're in a romantic relationship, there might be a breakup, a necessary breakup. Because with the Lovers in reverse, it's possible that there was some sort of deception, or there was just a loss of passion. There's no more passion in the relationship. So you're letting that go for something new. It's not an absolute, though. Nothing is ever absolute. You pave your journey, you know, you pave the way. There is always free will, so not everything is set in stone. Alright, so I think I'm going to do a final outcome card, and then we'll be done. Okay, so what is the final outcome for Taurus in this video? Okay. I have the Two of Wands in reverse. And it's funny because I literally forgot to mention this card. Like I literally said, I'm going to talk about this card, and then I forgot. Two of Wands in reverse. You are freeing yourself. You're free. You're finally free from your restrictions, from your cage, Ace of Cups. There are new emotional beginnings. You literally have you have three aces. I mean, one of them is in reverse, but you literally have three aces. There is a new beginning for you, and there is a new beginning in store. And you're finally free, like being free. Because you can kind of see here, like she's in a cage, right? Her, like, at least her, like, top half of the body is, right? You're freeing yourself from that cage and moving forward with the new beginnings. You're celebrating your new beginning. You're enjoying it. I mean, you cut off all the people that you needed to cut off. You learned your lesson. And that's that. So the journey will probably take a long time, and it'll take a while, I think, for you to reach this Ace of Cups energy and this Ace of Pentacles energy, but you'll get there. Their journey is slow and steady, just like you, Taurus. So you'll be fine. And I think that's it, guys. I'm done. I really hope that you enjoyed this reading, Taurus. If it didn't resonate, that's okay. Or if it did, and if you want further insight, for you, I do personal or private readings, and if you're interested in a private reading, you can hit up my Etsy shop, and we can discuss there. If you do buy a reading, please make sure to read all of the details that I have in the description of my Etsy, because it's very important. And I just want to be efficient in my readings. So yeah. And also, if you cannot afford a reading, or if you simply don't want a reading but you want to contribute in some way, you can always donate to the channel. That would mean a lot to me. And I will leave all of that down below. And I think that's it. I hope you guys like this reading, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.